Hey guys! Yeah, wet hair again. I'm getting ready for our first Northern Kentucky Circle of Solitaries meeting, so I'm really excited about that, and I'm taking a break from cleaning and cooking and all that to make a video, so that's how important you guys are to me. So, in the ritual series, I know I took a break from it last night, but we're back. We are to the point of raising energy for the spell, if you decided to do one. If you did not, you're often still going to raise energy in a circle. It's kind of the point of ritual most of the time. That's arguable, but even if you're not working toward the goal of a spell, there's still a goal to raise energy for. And it varies depending on your perception of the ritual you're doing. For example, one way you could do it is to raise energy and gift it to your higher self. And I know I still have not done the video on younger, middle, and higher self, but that's actually coming later in this series, so if you hang on, you're going to learn about that then. You could also gift it to your patron gods if you've just devoted yourself to them, or something like that. Send it out into the universe as a gift, thanking them for bringing you to this path, as a sign that you have changed through the year and a day or more that you have studied. Preferably more. I keep reiterating that, but it's important. The year and a day is not a rule. It's a guideline that many people can't fit into. It's hard to learn everything you need to know that this path is for you in just a year and a day. It's often not even like that for most covens. Most covens won't initiate you until you're ready, at least from what I've heard. Anyway, so you're raising energy. So you have to decide how to do that, and I talk about that in my spellcrafting series, so there's a link to that below. But you need to decide how you're going to do that. And if you are going to chant or dance, you're going to have to find chants or music appropriate to what you're going to do. And that's sometimes a little more difficult than it sounds. If you go probably here on YouTube and Google like Wiccan chants, or depending on when you're doing your chant, like moon chants, full moon chants, things like that, you're going to come up with stuff. There are also several groups who specialize in Wiccan and pagan chants, and if anyone has any recommendations for those, post them below so that people can get ideas, because I'm not as versed in that as I should be. A lot of the chants that I use I found online or through practice with other groups, or I wrote myself. And that's another option. You don't have to find pre-made chants, because Wicca is so new that we don't have a lot of hard and fast chants. They've just been kind of added to the repertoire as time went on by different individuals for suiting their purpose. And they're happy enough to share them with us. It's just not that we have chants for every holiday like Christianity or something. They have music for every holiday, but you got it. So when you raise energy is going to depend a lot on how you view communion. Because some people don't do communion for every ritual. I think it's important to do it for every ritual. It can vary how you do it, but I think it's an important step. If you see communion as a means to begin grounding your energy because you are taking food into yourself, which naturally starts to ground you, then you're probably going to do it after you raise energy. If you view it as truly a communion with the gods, and that you're blessing the cakes and wine or whatever you're using and taking it into yourself, and it's part of the god and goddess, kind of like Catholic communion, then you're probably going to do it before you raise energy. If you view it as an act of sympathetic magic with the statement of may I never hunger, may I never thirst, and taking into yourself that which will prevent you, in theory or in practice, from becoming hungry or thirsty, both spiritually and physically, then you could do it before or after. So you're going to have to think about how you view communion, and if you're going to do it at all, which I would highly recommend in one of those manners, and figure out if it's going to come before or after raising energy. You're also going to think about if you want to do the Great Rite. That depends what kind of ritual you're doing. It is an important step in Wiccan ritual, and I'm not going to say that it's not, but if you do it at communion, is kind of up to interpretation. You might have done it earlier in your ritual, you might do it now. So think about that too. The other thing I was going to say about communion was you need to think about what you're going to use. Some people use cakes and wine, some people use cakes and ale, some people use bread, some people use chocolate, crackers, milk, fruit juice, whatever they have available to them. And it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference except in the feel of the communion. For example, if you use chocolate, it's going to either have a more lighthearted and fun feel or a more sensual feel, depending on how you approach that. If you use wine or fruit juice, it's going to kind of have a more... It depends on how you view the different foods and beverages. So you're going to have to think about your conceptions of those items before you decide to use them in communion as well. I would recommend not using cakes and wine just because you think that's what you should use, or whatever, just because it's what you've read. Really think about what it means to you. Think about what you can logically get to. Like, if you're under 21, you're probably not going to be using wine or ale or any kind of alcohol. If you don't live in a dorm, you're probably not going to be using like homemade cakes or bread or whatever. I mean, maybe if you're lucky enough to live in a dorm with an oven, but you have to take that into consideration too, because you might want to spend time making your own bread and, heck, making your own wine for communion. But if you don't have the equipment and the time and the space to do all those things, it's kind of useless to spend time thinking about how awesome that would be. I think that was pretty much all I had to say about communion. There are different blessings that you can use for communion, and you're going to find that out by looking at different rituals. I told you mine with the may I never hunger, may I never thirst, that I often use, not all the time. So just Google for that one. That's about it. It's fairly simple. So my next few videos are going to be about the end of the rituals. They're going to be very short. Well, I might combine them so that it's long, but the topics themselves are going to be short. And then we are not done, but we're getting closer. I'll talk to you guys later.